So, welcome back. Gonna do something a little bit older today. Someone did ask me for this a while ago. I forget who it was, sorry. Someone spotted it on the wall, I think it was, and they asked about it. This is not the KWA PTS one. This is actually a WE Masada ACR. They call it the MSK. I've had this one for a very long time now. Indeed. I actually have barely used it. I'll explain why in a little while. There's a few reasons, to be fair. But yeah, it's just a model you don't see very often. It's certainly overlooked. It's not one of WE's most popular models. It's rather unfortunate because it's actually a nice rifle. Like, handling wise, it's very nice. So let's start with what is the MSK. The MSK is essentially WE's version of the Magpul Masada, later known as the Bushmaster and Remington ACR, that's been seen in video games and maybe a couple of films and things, but it's not ever really been that popular in the firearms world because when Bushmaster and Remington took over the civilian and military production of the Masada, they under-supported it, and they kind of forgot what the purpose of the platform was originally, which was to have a super modular rifle system with different calibers and different barrel lengths and different stock options. It was all, quick swap and multi-roll, and they just didn't support it. When they brought the firearms out, they didn't support it. They didn't bring out the caliber conversions. They didn't bring out a lot of barrel options, and their QC was fucking awful. And in airsoft, I think that after Magpul pulled out of PTS years ago, a lot of the Magpul projects just sort of got forgotten about. The FPG, the PDR, which is the bullpup PDW thing, like a P90, and then the Masada. Masada probably held on them to the majority compared to the others, but even so, it's still very underrepresented. The WE version uses the WE M4 magazines. These PMag style mags were actually brought out for the ACR. I do use them in, or did use them in, WE M4s as well. But these are a polymer magazine, obviously. There's a real Magpul on this one. They come with this carbine length barrel, which is, I think, a 14.5-inch barrel. And they come with the Remington style handguard, this railed handguard. The handguard I have on here is actually a Magpul MOE Masada handguard. These are much slimmer than the AEG ones. If you ever had any of the AEG PTS ones, they were quite wide to fit the battery in. These are actually quite slim. And I've also got the 10-inch barrel set on here. They have an AAC style flash hider. Let's see if I can push that pin out there. Take the handguard off so you can see. Technically this is a tan one, as you can see by the barrel support there. They have a quick change barrel system, which is rather cool. So it's a standard WE-M4 hop set, essentially, with this quick detach barrel system. It's very cool, but obviously that means there are certain design issues that have to be overcome to make that viable, especially in airsoft. Try and get that back in for you. But even so, it's such a cool system that it's just a shame that it's really not been very well taken up by airsoft industry. KWA did a version of this, and it was pretty awful, to be honest with you. Getting an end pass, where I work, we had some in. I had to try and fit an end pass to them. It was the most frustrating experience ever. End pass is easy. It's a standard KWA end pass. This one's on the WE end pass, so really easy. But for whatever reason, KWA has these very tight fitting, very narrow, like needle width pins. If we open the receiver up, you'll see that it's not quite the same as the M4 trigger group, and in fact that can be demonstrated without ever opening the rifle, because on a WE M4 you cannot put the gun into safety without it being on single shot, whereas on the Masada you can. That's accurate to the real thing, in the same way that, you know, WE M4s replicate the real M4 in that you can't put the safety catch on without the hammer cocked. The actual build quality of the lower and the upper, it's an aluminium upper, one piece, and then this polymer lower, as it was on the real one. And if we pull the bolt carrier out, you can see the bolt carrier, and in there you'll see there's an RA Tech end pass for WE to manage its power. I haven't used this for years. It's still got a decent amount of grease on it actually as well. The reason why I haven't really used this much is twofold. One is because I'm a bit larpy, and if I'm setting this up, I'm usually doing a kit or something, and a Masada just doesn't fit with most things. Secondly is I always found the hop was a little bit finicky in these. They had some double feed issues. They're very picky on ammunition, but they can shoot really good. You just have to have a little patience with them. I've just never really bothered. I've got the Magpul backup sights on there. They don't come as standard. I put those on there because I have a spare set. They have the swappable buttstock. WE never brought out any different buttstocks for it. Sadly, just headbutt the camera. But you know, in theory, you can change the buttstock. It actually has quite a firm cheek piece. It doesn't flop around like some replicas do. The WE stock is actually super solid. You can actually put these on a WE Scar as well, I think, with an adapter plate. The stock's actually really good with that adjustable length of pull. The as I said, the build quality is actually really good on it, but for whatever reason, they just didn't really ever take off. You can use standard WE M4 magazines in it, although allegedly it feeds better on its own ones because they have a slightly different outlet cushion there. Let's just tap this back in with a roll. These are self-retaining pins on this because it's the Magpul one, but it's quite stiff. Apologies to your ears there. Charging handle can be swapped over from left to right. You insert a small tool. I could probably do that now. I haven't done this for years, so you change it over and you can move it over onto the left or the right. I have it on the left because I'm right-handed. And it's sort of in a similar location to a HK's charging handle, I guess. Is the best way of putting it. You've got this hold open catch here, which is also a bolt release. So you pull the charging handle to the rear and push up to lock the bolt to the rear. And when you're inserting a magazine, you just press down to release the bolt. That's very intuitive. The magazine release is very stiff and easy to reach and operate with your firing hand. The selector catch is actually really nice in that it's a 90 degree, pretty much. Just over 90 degree, probably 100. From safe to single shot, it's just over 45 degrees. And then just over the 90 at about 100, 110 to get to the full auto. So it's a very short throw on the selector catch. The adjustable length of pull is super solid. but also the stock is also foldable over to the right hand side. It doesn't lock, it just holds there with its own spring weight, as it were. But that's not for firing, that would be for stowage more than anything else. I wouldn't ever fire a folding stock collapsed. Locks out very firmly. It has this sling loop on the left, which you used to have to pay extra for with the PTS one. And the QD studs, obviously, here. The one thing it is missing from the Magpul PTS one is the QD stud that's usually located there. Not that I ever used it anyway, but just in case it's something that you're ever wanting. The pistol grip does have storage space in its own little compartment there, and there's also battery storage space for CR123s and whatever down in the buttstock. Although that's not waterproof. The flash hider, as I said, is an AAC replica. It needs actually a grub screw tightening down because I haven't done it. That's because I did have a different flash hider on there originally. So on my 10-inch barrel, I have got a small extension on there at the moment, and that's just because this handguard's a little bit longer, and I just want it to clear. So when the suppressor comes right up and doesn't. If you don't have that little extension, then if you're using a Magpul handguard, which is intended for an 11-inch barrel, the suppressor will actually contact the handguard. That's not what you want, really. So I did put a small extension on there. The original 14-inch barrel is all alloy as well. Same with the 10-inch. It does have your quick detach handle, and it also has your fake gas pistons set up that you'd expect to see on both of them as well. So I'm not going to go too deep into this one, but I wanted everybody to have a quick look at it and see a different platform, as it were. Let's just see if there's any gas in here. We will that's the bolt lock into the rear on an empty magazine. Just get that forward. Hold that catch down. You've got a nice loud report, nice and quick. Decent rate of fire on auto. Single shot. Pretty snappy, pretty urgent. It's got a decent bit of recoil despite being a very heavy rifle. And there's your lock. So yeah, it's definitely a rifle worth looking at if you want something a little bit different. It's not a bad gun by any means, but WE is a little bit left behind against more modern platforms like VFC and the MWS platforms. But in my experience, and I used WEs for a very long time and multiples of them, they're actually not to be discounted. They can actually shoot really, really decent. The key to most WEs is to leave them as stock as you can and not mess about. Maybe do a hop nub, maybe a tensioner, but aside from an end pass, you really should try and leave WEs stock, because when you start putting RA-Tech stuff in, that's where the reliability goes to pot. And unfortunately, I've found RA-Tech is the cause of most of the reliability reputation from WE. It's because people get a WE rifle, instantly change out half the parts for RA-Tech, and then they get high wear and tear or poor fitting parts. So maybe we'll have that talk another time. But for the time being, I'm going to leave you with this. I just wanted you to have a look at this rifle platform. It is heavier than an M4, for sure. This is about 4 kilos, maybe just over. So it's a little bit more weighty, but it does certainly feel very sturdy. That one-piece aluminium upper is fantastic. The polymer feels really dense, really good. There's no flex to it at all. It's absolutely solid. The plastic's way nicer than TM plastic. It's actually nicer than the AEG plastics that PTS used, which was made by Errors. And you know, I know people laugh and say, "Oh, no, TM plastic's fine." Some of it is, but most of it, the new MP5s are fantastic. But a lot of TM plastics actually that really shiny ABS. This is much denser fiber reinforced stuff. It actually feels rather good. Any questions? Please put it below. Apologies for this being a quicker one, but it's not a platform that I really want to get too deep into. But if we need to revisit it, or you want me to answer any questions, I'll certainly do that. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and thanks again for watching.